Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she's one of the most influential real estate writers in the country, and she's running for a Dallas City Council seat. We'll be talking to Candy Evans and getting the dirt on Candy's Dirt next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, as somebody who has made the leap from journalism to entrepreneurship, I know the risk that you take. I mean, it's kind of safe getting a paycheck every week or every other week, and then to jump out on your own and make your own way is scary. Somebody who knows all about that, Candy Evans, good friend, one of my heroes, because you were one of the people who made the jump and did it very successfully.
Well,
Candy's
and it was scary. It was scary. It was kind of like now or never. We jump in, we do this, and we approach it like a business. And you know what? It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, actually. And I think I really attribute that to the wonderful real estate community here in Dallas. They were super, super supportive. And of course, I would do anything for them. I mean, we have the best real estate community on earth. Yes. And of course, I love real estate. I love homes. I love dirt. I love it all.
Okay, before we get into your journalism career and then later your city council race, I want to hear about the beginnings, because journalism in your blood.
Yes.
I remember hearing stories that you gave a speech and you said that your mom would actually read articles to you instead of bedtime stories?
Oh, yeah. Well, I grew up in the suburban Chicago area, and there were 7 newspapers, and my parents got them all. You know, and every afternoon we sat down and read the newspaper. And I remember that I wrote letters to reporters in Chicago when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I mean, if I had a disagreement or I didn't like the way they wrote something, I actually, would write a letter, and I was so thrilled when I got it back. Do you remember Ann Landers?
Yes, of course.
Oh my gosh, I had so many articles or stories published on Ann Landers, and it was like, oh my God, I got published. So I was like, always had it in my blood to be a writer, and just to, and I don't think I'm that good of a writer. I really don't. I think my daughter's a better writer than I am. But I always wanted to express myself. That was it. And so journalism became the way to do that.
And you were actually featured on 60 Minutes. Is that right?
Oh, that was when I was in college. And
Yes.
Leslie Stahl went to Wheaton College, and she came and did a story on women's colleges, and she interviewed everyone, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden I go, oh my God, that's me! That is me!
On 60 Minutes.
On 60 minutes.
A big
It was
deal.
amazing. It was amazing. And I don't know if I told you this either, but I wrote a book about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders years ago when I first came to Dallas. And I was in a movie that was just made recently called Daughters of the Sexual Revolution. Well, my husband had the same thing. We were watching the movie, and like literally he goes in the middle of the movie, oh my God, you're in the movie. You're in the movie. So he made me an IMBD account. Yes.
You really are a star. Okay, so there was a nice piece done on you several years ago. I think this is like 2013, but as we're doing homework for this show, I found it and I just loved it. So let's go ahead and roll that now.
Oh, this is great.
Well, first of all, I'm the gal who brought house porn to the Bible Belt. That's my moniker, because I love house porn and real estate. My father was actually an insurance salesman, and my mom was a homemaker. And, I've always been a journalist who's just obsessed with real estate, and here we are. What I love about being a blogger is that it's so much faster than traditional journalism or reporting. I mean, blogging was actually born for real estate because real estate changes and it happens all the time. You put something in print and it's sold, or it's, the price has been reduced. So it's old news by the time it gets to print. Honestly, I don't even think real estate belongs in print. It totally belongs on the web and it belongs in a blog. I love blogging about homes because I'm obsessed with homes and I love to look at them. I started secondshelters.com because last year I had so many second home communities sending me information, and it was information that was really, I started seeing a niche. I'm very naturally positive about home ownership myself, and perhaps that comes across in my writing because I think that home ownership is good for the United States. I think it's good for everyone. It's good for me. It's good for my kids. You should buy a home. You should stay in it for as long as you can. You shouldn't flip it. You shouldn't turn it into a hedge fund. That's not what it's all about. It's about a place where you can be comfortable and raise your family and love your kids and have parties and put your feet up at night and watch TV and just, have a great life. That's what home ownership is about, taking care of it, making it beautiful. I think that you should buy homes, but I think you should get your value. And I always want to help people get their best value, truly.
Well, I gotta first say, you never aged because that was several years ago,
God.
and you haven't changed. You're absolutely stunning.
I can tell you, I gotta lose 10 pounds.
Well, I want to bridge to your race for city council. We're gonna put up. You announced it on your blog,
Yep.
And there's the article.
With my jewels.
So Candy, I'm saying this as a guy who I don't have the stomach for politics. I probably couldn't get into politics. Why politics?
Well, I'm not sure I do either, but I do have a passion for the city of Dallas, and I think it's a real estate reason why I have to do this, because I see decisions being made at city council that have been hurting us for the last probably 16 years. The last 8 years with the incumbent who I tried to run against 4 years ago. And someday I'm going to write a book about that. It is really hard to run against an incumbent, folks. They cheat. Oops. And
Was that out loud?
that's online and out loud. And he's termed out now. So the seat is open. So I'm running for it. Of course, now we have 3 other people running as well. But something has to be done. We have to see a change. We have to start thinking of our city more as, I think, giving services to people. We're paying taxes for services, and we want these services. We don't really need to change the world or have a different, think of social injustice. That comes from the government and comes from other sources. We need to focus on city services, infrastructure, public safety, and keeping us warm,
Yes.
and not having us freeze our homes. We almost froze to death, and I was so mad at Encore. And and also thinking about another pandemic, how we can
Yes.
very easily, more organizedly stay in touch with people, keep them quarantined, get them the vaccines that we need so we can keep moving on. So I think that we need people who are collaborative. And I've been told, actually, there's a current person on city council. I can't use the person's name because she asked me not to.
Sure, no problem.
But she said, you will be such a great asset because you're an adult. You don't hold grudges. You get along with people. You can give, you can take. And that's so true. And I heard our police chief, our new police chief, speak about morale in the police department. He said that is the single worst thing that he's had to encounter in hiring. He's trying so hard to hire police to Dallas. And he said the morale is terrible. And the incumbent, who has been representing our district now for 8 years, has been just ruining, just picking on that, on the morale of the police for 8 years. And so it's now time for him to go. But the other thing I find in Dallas that's very troubling is, I call it the cabal. There's like this little cabal of people who kind of continuously are in charge of things, they run things, they boomerang back after a few years. And I think that's really what's wrong with the city, why it can't grow. I found out today about a wonderful program that a realtor called me and said, I'd like you to write about it. And it's a great program for affordable housing. And it includes opportunity zones. And he said, everything is set up. He's had this going for about 1.5 years. The city has not appointed a board of directors in 1.5 years to get this going. I mean, these could have been built in 1.5 years. And I called this person up and said, I'd love to be on this board. Why haven't you called me and asked me? But see, they call their buddies all the
Yes.
time. Same
Yes.
old, same old, same old. That has got to end. The fact that Valley View Mall is not a thriving Midtown now is not only, one of the biggest disasters in our history, but it's killing us because that's got a $20 billion,
Yes.
$billion value. And if you look at, for example, Legacy West and Midtown were kind of, incubated or
Yes.
conceived at the same time in 2011,
Yes.
about the time I started Candy's Dirt.
Sure.
And Legacy West, I mean, you're up there, you're going to dinner, you're shopping, it's pumping money into Plano.
Right.
It's about $3 billion, and there's nothing happening at Valley View Midtown. It's a wasteland, and that needs to change.
Yeah, and Candy, as a journalist, I mean, you've been in the city for now decades,
Yes, 40 years.
and writing about city business and properties. You probably know this city better than just about anybody else running for office.
Well, I think I do, and I also know that going into politics with a journalism background, I'm going to encourage you to go into politics because it's really good because you have a different sense of things. You ask more questions.
Yes.
You dig. You say, well, do we really need a whole department that teaches people to do rain barrel collection? Can't we get that off of YouTube and slash that budget right there? I mean,
Right.
Thinking about these things instead of going, it's always been done this way, so we're going to continue to do it just like we did in 1955 or something.
Yes.
And that has to change. But I also think the people of Dallas are fabulous, and they love this city, and it is a great city with great
Yes.
potential. Our neighborhood in our district, for example, we have parks and we have trails and great streets and a lot of greenery. And I just want to make sure we keep it that way.
So give us the basic borders. I know the district is kind of
Okay.
like.
We should throw a map
we
up.
should throw
I actually have a map on my website,
Yep.
candyfordallas.com.
We're gonna pull a map up and put it up on the screen.
We look like Pac-Man.
So-
It does. It's like Pac-Man because the southern border
Yeah.
is kind of a zigzag from Walnut Hill Lane up Hillcrest to Royal Lane. Then it all ends on Preston till you get to LBJ.
Yep.
And then it goes a little bit west up to Preston Trail and all that,
Yep.
up to Arapahoe Road, and then back to Coit, and then another zigzag back to Hillcrest. So if you look at it, there's like this little mouth that looks like Pac-Man.
Okay, so let's talk about running for office in an era of COVID-19. It's not like you can knock on doors necessarily. I mean, we're reopening the state, and the ballpark in Arlington is filled. How are you planning to run?
Well, we have a month, and I, by the way, am fully vaccinated. My husband was the fourth person at Presbyterian to get vaccinated. I actually cried when he got his vaccine. I was like, take a picture, send me a picture, because it was such a relief to me because I've been so worried about healthcare being on the front line,
Sure.
and there were several physicians we know who did get ill. But I have not gone door to door. I've mostly done telephoning because I did not want to, bother people. Plus, when I ran 4 years ago, people in North Dallas generally don't like to open their doors,
Sure.
But what I have loved about running now is that all the meetings are Zoom meetings, which means you don't have to get in your car, you don't have to go down, find a parking place, go in, sit and look at all these other people that you're running against and kind of go, I'm going to cook your goose. No, you don't have to do that. You just, you do your Zoom, and it's so much easier. Plus, it's hysterical to really see. This is so bad. Who can do technology and who can't? Oh my gosh.
no crazy cat filters on the.
Oh, the cat. Well, there was one forum we were doing for Trek the other day, and it was so funny. They had all these Trek people on there, and then the four of us, and it sounded like someone was doing the dishes. And I was just thinking that, like, who's doing the dishes? Then finally someone said, okay, would whoever's doing the dishes, stop doing the dishes? And I cracked up. I couldn't help it. But so that has been the interesting part of it is, and of course, I love the way we've adapted,
Yes.
Our whole country, our whole business. I mean, we adapted immediately to having Zoom interviews, and we had such a great, response for them. So, because, we used to do a lot of Candy Dirt parties where we'd invite people into a home to look at it and celebrate it. And now, people are really very queasy about having people come into their home, strangers especially.
Candy, we only have about a minute left, so that's your camera there on the right. Why don't you look your voter in the eye and tell them why they need to go out to vote?
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. First of all, you need to go out and vote because so few people vote in municipal elections. There's 55,000 people in District 11. And probably we expect 5,000 to 6,000 voters. I hope we'll have more than that. This is the most important election in my lifetime and in your lifetime, because we're going to pick council members who are going to make decisions for the next 8 years, and this will affect Dallas. We're going to talk about subways, we're going to talk about crime and safety, we're going to talk about infrastructure and building the city and increasing our tax base so we will never have to increase our property taxes, which I will never do. I'm very, very much opposed to that. I want to keep them down. In fact, I want to lower them because our values are going up. So to improve the quality of Dallas and to improve the quality of your life and the fact your children's life and your grandchildren's life, vote for Candy Evans for Dallas City Council District 11.
I love it. I love it. Candy, you have so much energy. I can see that you're absolutely up for the job.
I'm excited because I might have another grandchild any minute.
Oh, no kidding. Okay,
Yes.
you have to keep us updated on that. We're going to end with your website. CandyForDallas.com is the website. Candy Evans, thank you so much for coming on the show.
There's City Hall right there.
There it is.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you so
All right.
much for having
You
me.
bet.
Thank
And
you,
that's it
Jeff.
for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.